And verse 59, the Prophet ﷺ is advised that, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu, O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers, tell all of them, and yudnina alayhinna min jalabibihin, that they should draw their cloaks over themselves. That is more appropriate, so that they may be recognized, meaning as virtuous ladies, and therefore not harassed. And indeed, Allah is forgiving and merciful. This is verse 59 of Surah Al-Ahzab. Pair this together with the verse we did in Surah An-Nur that talked about as well the issue of the khimar. These two verses are all that you need to get from the Quran, the Quranic paradigm of feminine modesty. In Surah An-Nur, we learned that women should cover khimar over their bosoms, which is the hair and the bosom area. And in this ayah, we are explicitly told that they should wear loose covering and loose garment, preferably a separate garment on top, but even if it's not separate, but the point is there should be something that is loose. That's the whole point of yudnina alayhinna min jalabibihin, that it should not be tight. And these are the two main conditions that the entire body of the woman be covered. And again, this is explicit in the Quran. And notice here Allah is saying ذَلِكَ أَدْنَ أَنْ يُعْرَفْنَ فَلَا يُؤْذَيْنَ, so that they should not be intimidated or harassed. And again, there is no justification for any man to say or do anything inappropriate. At the same time, both genders need to do their job as well. And just like we take precautions for anything, so too we take reasonable precautions in this issue as well. And Allah is indicating here, it is an indication that is Quranic, it is not coming from me. And I know this is sensitive, but this is the Quran, and I am teaching you the Quran. If you find this problematic, then it is not my speech you are finding problematic. Keep that in mind. Allah is explicitly stating that if a person is not wearing appropriate clothing, it is more likely that they will be harassed. It is not a justification of the harassment, number one. Number two, there is no indication that if you wear hijab, you will not to be harassed. Of course, you can still be harassed with hijab. There are still bad people out there. Doesn't matter. But we do our job and we leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a part of reasonable precautions is we dress modestly and we act modestly and we act with decency and we dress with decency. This is very much Quranic. Now, if after all of this somebody still does something wrong, the sin is definitely on them. And even if a person dresses immodestly, that does not in any sense, fashion, or form justify another person perpetrating violence or something negative. That's a sin, but that doesn't negate that the first party as well should do something as much as possible. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for iman and taqwa. And I know it's difficult in this day and age. We're all struggling in our own ways. I ask Allah azza wa jalla to make it easy for all of us. But the point is, it is in the Quran and it is very explicit. O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and all the women of the believers.